Good evening, everybody. This is Rob and Jordan, and we are back once again for Archangel Inc. Live number 57. Welcome, Jordan. How are you today?
I am great. I just love as the numbers go up because now we're at 57,
I know.
58, 59, and then all of a sudden we're going to be at 300.
It's amazing. It just keeps plugging along. So glad
Yep.
glad to be here once again with everybody watching in the audience, both live and on the replay. Tonight, we are going to be doing a screen share and a demonstration of a good topic, I think. This is book topics to write about, how to pick your niche. So, Jordan, tell me a little bit, big picture, what we're trying to do tonight.
Yeah, so big picture, we're just trying to help you as the author. If you're at a point where you're like, okay, I have some things that I'm interested in. I have maybe an idea of what my niche should be, but I'm not sure what to write a book about. I'm not sure what the topic should be about. Regardless of your reason for writing, you do have to eventually pick a topic, and the more specific your topic can be, and the more directed, I think the better off the book is going to be. So we're just going to be talking about kind of as I go through it as an author, and same for Rob when we're doing this on our own, but also advising other people. What are some things that we think about, and we're going to try to answer, ask the obvious questions as we go. But definitely ask us questions in the comments, and we'll address them at the end. If something was confusing, or you're like, hey, well, what about that? Why didn't you delve into that? Definitely ask us. But we're going to try to just give you just a bird's eye view of what it looks like as you're starting to think about a topic for your book, and how you can generate some ideas. Besides just your own brainstorming, there are tools, and Publisher Rocket is one of them, that are just super helpful for helping you to think of the things that you weren't going to think about.
Right. Yeah, let's pull up this first note that I have here, which is the number one reason behind poor sales. And from my perspective, the biggest reason is you don't know who your audience is, or you don't even know if you have an audience. So when you're starting out, when you're putting a book together, like you said, you can have something that's just a passion project, something that is speaking to you. You just have this book inside of you and you want to get it out, and we'll figure out the audience afterward. However, a lot of times we have authors who are interested in a particular topic. They are trying to build their authorship career. They're trying to continually provide value to their readers, to their audience. And when you're doing that, it's important to figure out, well, what do they actually want? If you want people to take their time, take their energy, and listen to your content, or read your content, or listen to it if you're producing audiobooks, which is a good idea, then you want to see that there's actually a need for it. Pay attention to what people are actually looking for. I mean, the joke, and I've probably shared this before, the adage goes that, the person who only pays attention to what's popular and what people are looking for, creatively, they're a sellout. But you could just as easily say, yeah, they're a sellout because they sold out the first print run of their book because they provided value to people, and people actually wanted to purchase it. So I think that's the key. I mean, a lot of times people will come to us and they'll say, what can I do? I've got this book on this particular topic. I'm not really seeing the sales that I'd like to see. How can I change it? And there are a lot of things that we can do. We've covered them before, cover design and sales copy and marketing and finding your target demographic and keywords and all of that kind of thing. However, the first step is making sure that it's something that people actually want to read about. If you're finding a very niche topic, a very hard to identify with field, then it's going to be a lot harder to identify with. If you have people who aren't looking for that, and you have to kind of bootstrap your own audience, that's going to be additional work, as opposed to something where, hey, there's a market need out there. People are looking for this particular topic, and they're not getting their fill. There's just not enough out there. There's more of a desire than there is a supply. Then that's a good spot to be in if you're actually trying to generate sales and provide that kind of value.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So all of that preamble said, let us just jump into using Publisher Rocket for market research. And so we're going to be doing a screen share here. And I think we can go ahead and, yep, there we go. Add that to the screen. And Jordan, you're going to be the Publisher Rocket master here. Please have at it.
And I'm good to go?
Yes.
Good deal. Okay. Okay, so we're in Publisher Rocket right here. Great program. You can do a lot of the stuff that we're doing here. You can do just by using Amazon, which you can do for free. but Publisher Rocket just makes it a lot faster. It allows you to export your results and kind of organize everything together in a spreadsheet, which we're not going to share that tonight, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit as we're going through, as we start to reveal things and start to see what types of subjects we might be interested in. We definitely want to save those. Whether you want to copy and paste them from here or export it, it's up to you. I recommend exporting just because you can put it in a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet and organize that and kind of have that data ready for you. But yeah, those are things you want to do. So we'll just jump right in. Rob and I came up with 3 subjects that we're going to talk about tonight: real estate, parenting, and then maybe remind me of the third one, Rob. I forgot already. Romance. That's why I forgot. Yeah, romance. Yeah, we're going to talk about those 3 different kind of subjects and just what our thought processes are. Trying to put ourselves in the mode of someone that is potentially interested in real estate, or real estate expert and wants to write a book. So let's just get started. I'm just going to type just real estate in here. We're just going to think about super basic, and you can leave I did that real quick, but you can leave the book setting. And actually we'll do it again real quick, Rob, because I know I did do that fast. To type real estate, you can have Rocket search for book or ebook keywords, and you can choose either one here. And what it's going to do is it's going to show you results in book for this one, in actual like print books, and then this one's going to be the ebook. For our purposes here, we can just leave it at book, and that's okay. Then you hit Go Get 'em Rocket, and what it does is it populates this list of different keyword searches that people are putting on Amazon. And again, we'll share the reason we talk about keywords and why keywords are super important is that that's what people are looking for. People are using these search terms to type stuff in. It's why Dale Roberts wrote a whole book about Amazon keywords and why they're super important. I figured we'd just give a plug for Dale there. Whatever we can plug Dale, we're happy to do so. But yeah, that's why he wrote a whole book about it. Great book. You definitely should check that out. But they are important for authors to understand and to see what's out there. And this is a great just way to start. So as you type in real estate, are there any questions, Rob, before I just keep rambling on?
No. Well, so the main thing that, not a question, just a comment. If we think about keywords as the common language of somebody who's interested in something, and you just want to make sure that you're speaking that language, you're demonstrating that whatever it is that they're looking for, whatever that they might be searching on Amazon, on Google, etc., searching for, that you're actually speaking to them where they're at. And, it may turn out that sometimes keywords are a little bit different than you were expecting. So the example that comes to mind is Hassan Osman, I think his first book, which is called Influencing Virtual Teams, was about teleconferencing, or not teleconferencing, excuse me, telework. And so, you have a remote team that is in different places. And so he did a little bit of research, and he found out that virtual teams is a term. Maybe he hadn't seen it before, but a lot of people were searching for it, and a lot of people were using that terminology. And he was able to kind of shift the title of his book over to something that people that was underserved, that people were searching for already, but wasn't being spoken to, and that market need wasn't being fully met. And so just be a little bit open-minded to it. You can start out with some keywords, and then start to realize along the way that there are actually other related terms that maybe you weren't even thinking of that are going to be a good fit, that they're actually the lingua franca of the audience that you're trying to cultivate. So that's kind of the purpose of keywords from a big picture perspective.
Cool, good deal. So as you type in real estate, and then I would also advise you as you do this and as you search, make up your own list of seed keywords for your niche. So very, very general things. So real estate, you could also do real estate investing or buying homes or anything else that you can think of that is in that genre and in that niche that fit those keywords. And then that'll help you kind of get the best ideas that you can. But as you go through this, you're going to want to hit this analyze button for any of the keywords that stand out to you. So I'll just hit it for a couple here so we can kind of see, because I want to talk about what the results show, because they're super helpful. And then we'll just go down here. Yeah, real estate agent planner. Let's see if anything pops up there. And then you can kind of see real estate auction, real estate basics, real estate beginners. Okay, we'll start there and then kind of talk about what this looks like. So what we're seeing here, just for anyone that hasn't used Rocket before, I'll just briefly talk about this stuff. This is the number of competitors on Amazon. So it is highly competitive. There's more than 1,200 books out there. This is the average monthly earnings for, I just believe it's the top books. Yeah, it's not every book, it's the top books that rank. And then actually shows you the Google searches per month, Amazon searches, and then the competitive score. So what I see when I just think about real estate, if you're thinking about writing and getting into the real estate niche, you really are going to need, and I would highly recommend, to find a niche, like niche down, if that makes sense. Find something that's in that's not just real estate. Try not to write a book that's just like, oh, all about real estate, because your competition is super high here. Rocket's giving a competitive score of 100. That's because you can see this. There's tons of books out there that are about real estate. So really thinking about what are other topics here, and that's where this can help. As you start to see some of these, now this can kind of tell you, real estate agent planner, if it's more than 100, or if it's less than 100, that means it's not really being searched within Amazon. It may have a competitive score of 0 or of 20, but no one's searching for it, really. Right. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend, writing a book about real estate agent planner or whatever that would look like for that specific keyword.
Right. Yeah. The sweet spot, my understanding, and jump in if I'm incorrect here, you want something that is low competition. So number of competitors, less than 1,200, ideally as low as possible, with high average monthly earnings, because it means that there's a market there. Ideally high numbers of Google searches as well, meaning that there's some cross-platform potential, very high number of Amazon searches, and a very low competitive score. So, because if you have all of that in place, it's saying, hey, there's a really, really strong market need, and there's nobody out there meeting it, and everybody who is meeting it is doing gangbusters in sales, and you can be a part of that group too. That's kind of the avatar of the perfect keyword, as I understand it.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. That's why I really like your example from Hassan Osman, thinking about like remote work versus telework. It's a very similar thing, but it's not something that it's something where, you could see that, okay, people are searching for that, right. But maybe I didn't think about that. Maybe that's not what I call it. Maybe right. on the East Coast of the US, we don't call it that, but on the West Coast we do. Right. And no one's happened to write a book about that, of what they call it on the East Coast. Well, you can write that book and kind of be the authority there. But as you go through here, you can you can start to see different subjects. Maybe real estate California is big, maybe not. You can start to analyze that. So 125, that's still not anything I would really worry too much about. It's not something I would go into. You're really searching for at least in this range. The higher, the better there, as we were discussing. But as you go through here, this can help you build your own seed keywords for the real estate niche. And then you can hopefully find other ways of saying things that work. I'm just looking through here to see what else pops up. Real estate exam prep, that's a potentially good one. That's something. And I think what I'm thinking about here, Rob, is maybe you are real estate, and maybe I'm thinking about writing a book about how to do this, or how to sell like apartment buildings, or how to sell name another specific type building. That's something I would search for. Are people searching for that? Do people want to know how to sell apartment buildings? Right. Do people want to know how to sell co-working spaces or businesses or anything else you can think of? Are people looking for that? Right. But then you can also think about the things that relate to it that maybe people aren't generally writing about, but that you could potentially write about if you understand and know that real estate exam prep, or whatever it means when people search for that term. I'm not a real estate person. I don't know if there's what is out there for exam prep, but if you happen to be an expert in that, it could be a potentially good topic. We said around 1,000. The competitive score is not super high. There are a lot of competitors. So I would hit this button, and we could even do that real quick. Mine as well. Sure. I would hit, once I find a good one, I would hit this button and say, hey, can I compete with these books? Just looking at these books right off the top, it looks like more textbook style. So it depends if you think you'd want to jump in to that, be able to make a better title, a better a better book overall, better book cover, maybe. So that's potentially an option. But I would do that if you find one that you might be interested in. Hit that competition and see what's out there. That's really the value of seeing everything here.
Right. Yeah, and I would say also, once let's say you've identified real estate exam prep as your topic, then when you click on that competition, you can kind of see what other books out there are talking about, and this might be another source of information if you start scanning their table of contents, seeing what sort of material they're covering, reading their reviews, seeing what sort of information people are really resonating with, or in the negative reviews, hey, they didn't cover this particular thing at all, and I really wish they had, because this was my big question going in, and this book didn't answer it at all. That can be an important key to figuring out the content for your material. Hey, there's this obvious desire to learn more about this particular state's real estate prep and not the national exam or something. And once you have that that feedback from both the readers as in terms of the reviews that are being left, as well as the writers in terms of the table of contents that you can browse usually for free, with the preview function, you can really start to flesh out what your outline might look like. And again, this is kind of assuming that you are interested in a particular topic, but you're not totally set on a specific thing, and that you're flexible, you're willing to do a little bit of research, because your primary purpose here is providing value and creating engaging content, and not necessarily just getting out a specific set of information that's inside of you that just is bursting out and needs to come out. This is instead something that maybe you're willing to do a little bit of research and lean on some of your expertise and learning to consolidate and create value around.
Yeah, I think that's great, Rob. I'll expand real quick on it and say that, yeah, even if you do have a main subject you're going to talk about, when we just shared, like, hey, you can look in the table of contents, you can do the same thing with this. Some of these things could potentially end up being very good fits to put in your subtitle that you're also going to cover if it fits. Now, I don't know if selling real estate, I don't know if you'd be able to put in something about exam prep in there too in your book. It just depends on how you want to formulate your book. But that's an option. It can end up in your book's content. If it's a high enough level subject, it can end up in your subtitle. And yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or yeah, exactly. You could end up saying, maybe some people are searching for real estate careers, and then, the subtitle might include real estate exam prep, or real estate in a particular market, maybe that you have familiarity with. And or if it's not not important enough to put in your subtitle, maybe you make sure to just include that in your sales copy, in the book description, so that you're hitting on those keywords, and that people who are looking for it, they're going to say, oh, I actually do need that particular thing. That topic is what I'm looking for. This is going to be the book for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, if our goal, as it should be, is to write a really, really good book, this is how we can start to formulate our outline and start to think about what topics we want to cover. If we're covering the topics that people are actually searching for, then it's that much more likely that we're going to write a really good book.
Yep.
If we're ready, we'll jump into parenting and then kind of just go briefly over the options, and then see what shows up, see what Rocket gives us. It's obvious I'm a big fan of Rocket and what it can show you. And I would search for this term because I don't actual parenting, maybe, and something to watch out for in these keywords and these terms that show up. Sometimes a book becomes so popular that it becomes a keyword in and of itself. And you don't necessarily want to write a book with, with the title of another book. You don't want to make use of that keyword. So that's why it's important, once you start to figure out what you might want to write about, hit that competition button and see what else is out there.
Right. Yeah, and you may end up being surprised at the result that you have. So, for example, right now, I haven't researched the parenting genre before, but the third entry here is the Danish way of parenting, which is something I certainly wasn't think about. Maybe if I were in the parenting arena as a writer, that would be very obvious. But that is Rocket can often give you useful information that's off the beaten path and not obvious. I don't know if that's the case here, but potentially it is. And there might be other things like that. Again, like Hassan Osman, virtual teams versus teleworking and remote working and so forth.
Yep. And I will say real quick, because I forgot, what I would have done with the real estate is just expanded upon real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And every base here that I have, I would export it into a Google Doc or Excel sheet, or I think it actually exports as a CSV,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a comma separated values that you can put into an Excel or Google spreadsheet. And then you can put all of these together, and then you can have your searches. So the export button's right here. Rocket makes it really simple to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point that you had, Rob. Like, look at this one right here. Yeah, maybe the number of competitors only 96. It has a competitive score of 75. It's something I would definitely look at to check it out here in the competition, because like I was saying, you don't. If this book right here, if there's a specific book called The Danish Way of Parenting, potentially that book can be very popular and can be pulling all the other books, and I'll show you here. It could potentially be pulling these numbers up. It could be pulling the estimated searches per month up right here. So it's definitely, when you find a good keyword, you do want to go into the competition and see, okay, is it just the one book, and do I want to compete with that? And potentially checking out that book and seeing what else is here.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting that The Danish Way of Parenting, these other books come up. I know. I can't. Well, I thought I was going to remember how to say that, but I know that's like a Danish phrase, the hygge, but that's not how you say it. But that's all Danish stuff right there, and there's different things. So yeah, not all these books are necessarily just about parenting. There's some other stuff going on there. So just the question, if you want to compete with that. I would imagine this Parenting from the Inside Out, to me, that I've never heard of that, but it's so specific that, is someone really going to be searching for this if it's not a specific book title? And that's where you kind of have to, the more you learn this, you kind of have an intuitive sense about the keywords as you go. Right. So that does take some time. But yeah, just go through and analyze those books and have those thoughts.
Yep.
And this will pop different things up, like parenting autism. That's potentially one. Yeah, there's a lot of competitors, but the searches aren't too bad. And Rocket does a really good job about just giving you a lot of different ideas. Mm-hmm. And these ideas could potentially go into other keyword bases, and you can really dig deep and see what's out there.
Right. Another thing that I'll mention about Rocket and their all this information that they give you for these keywords, I mentioned the avatar of the kind of perfect keyword. Nothing's going to be perfect. You might have something that's kind of, maybe it doesn't have that many competitors, but the monthly sales aren't that great, or the competition score is low and the sales are really good, but the number of competitors is really high. So you're going to end up having to weigh and judge which combination of those is going to be most important for you. And that's where your own personal interest, your existing expertise might come into play when you're crafting this, when you're doing this specifically for research into writing your next book, into finding your next book topic. Maybe you say, I'm going to wait a little bit more on this particular one. The determining factor isn't going to be the competitive score, let's say, or the number of competitors specifically. It's going to incorporate that. But if I have to decide, I'm going to decide on this subject that I already know a little bit about, or that I want to write a little bit about more and do that research on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll share one final thing you could do with Rocket. I don't generally do it because all the keywords aren't. I just know that they're not going to be a great fit. You could go through and hit the analyze button on all of these, then export them and kind of search by this. That's an option for you. I just think it's just generally more beneficial to kind of scan through, see the ones you like, and then export it. And then Rocket will show those ones that it did the analyze for.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're ready, let's jump into the last one. This is going to be totally different.
Right. So the last one that we're going to be doing is romance. And it looks like I actually already clicked romance. So I clicked the wrong one earlier. So the last one was parenting, and this one is romance. Again, the main thing that we want to do is demonstrate that this is a tool that can be used across multiple different genres. It doesn't necessarily matter. It's not just for business authors. It's not just for nonfiction authors even. You can use this to learn a little bit more and incorporate your own skills, your own interests into whatever you find here to craft something that is ideally going to serve your readers well and generate sales for you.
Yep. And again, I love that Rocket just kind of it won't just put romance and then the word after. It'll put the word first here, which is super important because people aren't going to type in romance historical they're going to type in historical romance, and then you can see that there, and that's important in how you formulate those things. So I would, like I said, I mean, like I did here, I would just click through those first ones, any other different ones that pop up here that might be a potentially good fit. You don't want to search for like Audible, because your book title is not going to be Romance Audible or anything specific like Christmas romance books. That's not necessarily super helpful. I mean, you maybe put that in like your deep keywords or put it in a book description, but generally you don't really need to put those type of things in. That's not really what we're looking for here as far as book topics anyway.
Right.
Yeah, the same thing with teen romance books. Now, romance collection, that could be, we'll look at that and see what it says here. Yeah, no one's really searching for that. I like looking at words like that because, hey, okay, are people actually typing in romance collection? I think I remember looking through on some poetry ones once, and I think people are actually typing for or searching keywords for poetry collection. That's a normal thing. So thinking, okay, are they searching for romance collection? Well, now we know, no, they do not. So that's where we're learning as we go through here. So if I was a romance author, I would definitely want to be paying attention to these things. Are people searching for romance comedy? Romance comics. I mean, those could potentially be good. That's still pretty high as a competitive score of 53, but it's not insurmountable. If that was your niche, if you're actually, I could write romance comedy. And that's such a big keyword that I would probably take this and put this in and see if there's anything else that comes up, or I try to figure out, I would look maybe romance humor or things like that. So, and that's another, I think I don't want to, beat the nail in too far here, but just thinking about, as you find terms like this, finding ways to dig in and dive in and kind of expand upon that. And you can do that just with your own intuition, your own thoughts. You can also look at the competition, see what other people are doing, and kind of expand from there.
Right. One other thing that I was just thinking of when you mentioned collection just doesn't have a lot of titles. Maybe you're a romance author already and you're looking to put together a collection, of 3 or 4 of your books. Maybe look for other terms. That romance collection just isn't really doing it in terms of what people are looking for. So maybe romance series or romance compiled romance or something like that. Other terms that might actually be preferable as far as people are searching them out.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge romance fan reader, but I love dragons. Dragons are my favorite animal, even though they're mythical. Something like this, romance dragon. I'm not exactly sure what is I can imagine is going to come up. And again, always check the competition, see what's really showing up on Amazon when people type these things in. But yeah, I mean that's pretty low competitive score, 20. Check, and it's not earning a whole lot, but I mean it's something you could potentially write in, or it could be part of your books. You could, like we said before, you could put it in your description. You could talk about the romance dragon scene. I don't know, like you could work that in somehow.
I'm a little curious. Would you just click on the competition?
Sure.
What sort of books come up?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Sacrifice to the Dragon Called. I mean, there's some different things going on there. Immortal Dragon series.
Okay. There we go.
There we go.
Good.
And I think that's where this is just super important. If you are in romance, just to be aware of what else people are doing. There's tons of ideas you can get from that.
Right.
And that's why I like Rocket so much, because you can easily click that, kind of see it all within here. Okay, that's something I want. Competition, boom, it's there for you.
Right. So another thing that I would mention, if we go back to that competition page, we have you can see at a glance a lot of information there. You can see the titles, but you can also see the thumbnails of the covers, so you can get a pretty good sense right away of what sort of elements kind of are common across that genre, across that keyword. And if you want to appeal to that existing audience, then you probably want to speak that design language as well as whatever other keywords and subtitle kind of oriented language.
Yeah, and there's some good information here too in all of this, and we won't go over each one, but I was just looking up this one because this is what I thought it was. It shows you whether the specific keyword, so romance dragon, was that targeted in the title, and all of these are no. So that's important too, as you're starting to think about different things. And if you really wanted to target that keyword, potentially, if you wrote a book and put Romance Dragon in the title. None of these other ones have that. So I think that's part of the reason why we'll go back to the keyword search here for, let's see, I scrolled up. See if we can find Romance Dragon real quick. Yeah,
there we go.
You'll see the competitive score at 20, and that's partly where it's pulling that from, because you'll see like some of these, look, this one is over 1,200, and then that's 73, but then this one's also over 1,200. And then that's 20. That seems a lot lower. Well, this competitive score is being pulled from a lot of different features, and it's part of that competition. It's pulling from, okay, do they have the keyword in the title? How many sales does it have? And those kind of questions.
Right. Yep. Also, what the price is. If you're thinking about figuring out your pricing, we talk about follow the leader. Follow what other high performing books in your genre are doing. This is a really good way to see. Oh, okay, $12.99, $12.99, $12.99. $2.99. $12.99 again. It's like, oh, I probably want to price it around $12.99 for whatever reason. There might be an outlier, but that gives me the information about what the audience expectation is when it comes to pricing.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's good enough. I don't want to belabor it too much, like you mentioned, but we did just want to demonstrate some of these the tools that you can use with Publisher Rocket. Give yourself a sense of what sort of topics are going to be good, what sort of titles are going to be good, and figure out for your next book as you're researching it, how can I provide value to my readers and meet them where they're at.
Yep, absolutely. That's really what we're trying to solve with this program and what we're looking at, and why we said, yeah, you can do a lot of what we were doing on Amazon. Yeah, you're not going to have the estimated keyword searches. I think that's something that the program is really valuable for. But yeah, you can still see what's out there. You can compare what you're thinking about with other titles, other book covers, and all that.
Right. Yep. Agreed. Cool. Well, I think in terms of concluding thoughts, yes, you can definitely do this on Amazon. This Publisher Rocket is a really great bit of software and a tool to help with that. But the big picture is just pay attention to what other people are doing in the genre that you're thinking about writing, in order to hone in, focus on your topic and your title, so that you can actually provide them value. Again, meet them where they're at, and increase the likelihood that they're going to support you and actually buy it and read it and encourage other people to do the same.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we'll just give a quick shout out here to Book Award Pro, Hannah. Topic of the video looks great. Hope this information was helpful. Let us know if you have any questions. And then Self-Publishing with Dale. What's up, guys? Happy to see you as well, commenting here, Dale. But folks, if you are interested in learning more about this topic and doing more demos on Publisher Rocket, or figuring out how to do keyword and category research and all of that, let us know. We're happy to help and provide specific targeted information as best we can.
Good deal.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, everybody, we will see you next time. Make sure to like and subscribe and share and comment below. Let us know what you thought, and we will catch you folks next time.